Here are 31 horror double features you should watch this October. Spooky season is here, baby.
What do I want? I want to play a game.
Hi guys, this is Josh with Let's Play a Game. Today I'm giving you guys 31 horror double features that I think you should watch this October. Some of these double features definitely make sense, some of them don't make sense, but I will explain why I picked all these double features for you guys today. And definitely hit that like and subscribe button if you love all things horror. Let's go. First horror double features you should watch in October is two horror classics, two of the best of all time, Black Christmas and John Carpenter's Halloween. Now, I picked these as putting these together. I think these are great to watch together because I think the vibe of both of these movies, they kind of have the same vibes. They're both classics. They're both basically slashers, like early slashers. Of course, Halloween definitely started the slasher craze with Friday the 13th, but Black Christmas is a precursor to Halloween. I love the vibe of both of these movies. There's some creepy moments in both of these films. I love all the phone calls in Black Christmas. This is set at a sorority house. Very awesome early 70s pre-slasher. And then, of course, the classic. Everybody knows John Carpenter's Halloween. I don't need to say too much about this, but watch these together. And actually, Halloween started off as it was actually gonna maybe be a sequel to Black Christmas. That would have been a cool concept, so that's kind of cool to think about in the history of horror. But yeah, watch these two together. Cool vibes. You kind of get in the killer's POV. Just both really good early slashers. And I think these go together very, very well. So Halloween and Black Christmas, great double feature in my eyes. Now let's go to two creature features, but they're both like Alligator films, but from two different eras. But I think they're both really good, fun movies. We got Alligator and Crawl. Both of these are Alligator films. Alligator was made in the 80s, but it's got a pretty cool vibe, and some good practical effects with the alligator. And I think Crawl is a more recent film that I really, really enjoy. This movie, and I think these go together kind of well. You got like the more fun modern Alligator movie, and you got the early 80s Alligator film, but watch both of these back to back, and I think you'll have a good time with these two. Alligator fun right here. Crawl and Alligator. Check these out. Watch them together. Now this really makes sense. We got Jeepers Creepers and Jeepers Creepers 2. Jeepers Creepers 3 and 4 does not exist. I think these go perfect together, and you don't need any more Jeepers Creepers after you watch these two. You got the first movie. It's really serious, really well done monster film. In my eyes, this is a modern horror classic. And you got the sequel that the creeper's still really scary in this, but you got more of a fun factor in this movie that I actually really enjoy. You got these high school kids on a school bus, and this is only set like a few days after the first movie. I think this is a perfect double feature, really awesome creature feature, double feature right there. Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. Now we got a pair of two early 80s camp slashers. We got, of course, the original Friday the 13th camp slasher. This started the slasher craze. This is a classic in my eyes. And you got kind of the knockoff, but actually a really good movie too, The Burning. So if you just want to go to summer camp and watch these awesome early 80s slashers, I think they're both great early 80s slashers. I actually love the mood of the original more and more every time I watch it. I really like Mrs. Voorhees as the killer, and I just love the vibe of this, and I love putting Friday the 13th on in October. And then The Burning has some awesome kills, and Tom Savini did the practical effects for this as well as Friday the 13th. But yeah, both good gore effects, just really fun early 80s slashers. You can't go wrong watching these back to back. Now we got, in my eyes, probably the two best 80s vampire films ever. You got Fright Night and The Lost Boys. These are really fun to watch together. Fright Night is just such a fun 80s vampire flick with the guy who discovers his neighbor is a vampire, and then The Lost Boys is just like a perfect 80s film, a perfect vampire film, just an amazing cast in this movie. Kiefer Sutherland, the Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, but both like really fun movies, but in my eyes, both classics as well. So definitely watch Fright Night and Lost Boys together this October. You'll have a blast. Now I'm gonna give you guys 2 foreign flicks. The only reason why I put these together is because this is an example of when I watch these 2 movies, I forget that I'm watching subtitles. Both of these movies are so good in their own ways. Let the Right One In and Raw. Let the Right One In is a vampire flick about a little boy who befriends a girl vampire. This is such a good movie. It has subtitles, like I said, but I think you'll forget about reading the subtitles, and that shows you how awesome this movie is. This movie's so good. And then Raw is kind of a crazy movie about like a vegetarian who starts eating meat. That's all I say. But another one where I forgot I was reading subtitles, and I think these 2 foreign movies are just so incredibly well done. Now I got a pair of rape revenge flicks that they're both remakes. I think they're both really well done horror remakes about girls getting raped, and then there's revenge. So I got I Spit on Your Grave remake. For some reason, I don't own that movie, but I really think that's a well done movie. And The Last House on the Left movie, both of these movies are such really well done rape revenge flicks. I really feel sorry about the girls who get raped in these movies, and I think they are both really serious. They both are really intense. And I think The Last House on the Left remake is such a well done movie. It's not one I want to watch a lot. Every few years ago, I go back to this and I always forget how intense and amazing this movie is. It doesn't make you feel good, but that's the point. So I Spit on Your Grave and Last House on the Left, both really well done rape revenge films that you should definitely watch. Just not ones you should watch very often, but it makes for a really well done, serious, intense double feature in my eyes. Alright, now we got 2 90s classics. We got Wes Craven's New Nightmare and Scream. The reason why I think these make for a perfect double feature is because New Nightmare is a very well done, kind of self-aware movie in the Nightmare on Elm Street series, but it kind of has like those self-aware vibes, like a movie within a movie type deal where the actors are playing themselves from the Nightmare series, but it kind of really has the Scream vibe before Scream. This came out a couple years before Scream, and then of course Scream for me is a classic. I absolutely love this movie, and I think these work so well together. And Ghostface was born in this movie. This reinvigorated like the horror movies in the late 90s, and they weren't making a lot of money, and Scream just blew off the doors and horror started making money again. Actually a double feature for me that makes sense. Now we got a pair of movies that I consider Lifetime movies on steroids. Now you're asking, what is a Lifetime movie on steroids? I think it's a Lifetime movie that is done really well. It's kind of the concept of a movie that goes on Lifetime, but they're done really well. And these are a pair of early 90s thrillers that I think go really well together. And I grew up with both of these, Single White Female and The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. But yeah, this is about a girl who moves into an apartment building, and this her neighbor becomes obsessed with her. She wants to like become her. This is really well done. And then you got The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. The woman in the middle, she loses her baby, and she kind of blames these two, and she kind of weasel her ways into their lives. Just it gradually builds and builds to an awesome finale. But yeah, 2 awesome early 90s thrillers that go perfect together. Single White Female and The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. A lot of nostalgia too. I grew up with these 2, but well done thrillers. Alright, now we got 2 movies that a lot of people think are like 2 of the worst movies in both of these franchises. When a horror movie goes to space, a lot of people say that franchise is done, but I actually love these 2 movies now. Leprechaun 4 in space, just a fun cheese fest. The effects are terrible. It's not taken seriously at all. This is kind of like an Aliens knockoff in space with like Marines and stuff. It's super cheesy, terrible CGI effects, but I love Leprechaun in space. It's my second favorite in the series, and for the exactly the same reasons, I love Jason X. Terrible effects, terrible story. This movie should not work, but I have fun with both of these movies going to space. I have a blast with Jason X and Leprechaun 4 in space. Not every horror movie needs to be serious and a classic. These two are an example of awesome cheese fest. I just have a blast with these. I love these. I don't care what anybody says about these. Two really well done horror anthologies from 20 years apart. But one, we got like 4 stories or 5 stories that don't go together, but they're kind of weaved together by comic book panels. Creepshow, this is an early 80s classic. I can't recommend this enough. We got some awesome stories. We got like one on the set on the beach with Ted Danson. Really well done story. All 5 stories are pretty good. Some are better than others, but I think this is a well done anthology. And then we got Trick or Treat, a movie that's fast becoming one of my favorites to watch in October every year. This has a few different stories, but they actually kind of connect and come together. That's why I love this movie so much, and this really does have an awesome fall Halloween vibe too. So 2 awesome horror anthologies that actually I think they kind of go together like a classic and kind of a modern. This is fast becoming a modern classic. So yeah, 2 awesome horror anthologies. Good time to watch these in October. Do it. Now I'm gonna go with 2 black and white films, 2 classic horror movies that I think go perfect together. Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. 2 really well done movies, 2 awesome movies. I think they're both great. I think Bride of Frankenstein is a perfect sequel in my eyes. So, and Bride of Frankenstein kind of starts right off from the end of the first Frankenstein. So, throw a couple black and white classics in there. Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, perfect double feature in my eyes, awesome. Now the next double feature I'm going to give you guys is I call it a supernatural horror remake double feature that stars Sam and Dean from Supernatural. Supernatural is one of my favorite shows of all time. They both did a slasher horror remake, and I think you should watch them together, kind of get your fill of Supernatural, and I think they're both fun, underrated horror remakes. That is, of course, the Friday the 13th remake and My Bloody Valentine 3D remake. Both of these are really fun. I think I actually kind of enjoy this one more over and over, but I love this one too. I love Derek Mears as Jason. He might be my favorite Jason of all time. I love the first 20 minutes of this movie. It's absolutely amazing. But I think these are both really fun, and I think they're both a little underrated, and you get Sam and Dean from Supernatural in both of these movies. So you got Dean in this one, and you got Sam in this one, Jerry Padalecki and Jensen Ackles. But just for that fact alone, this is actually a really fun double feature. Do this double feature, it makes sense if you love Supernatural. Now this is going to be kind of random, but I'm going to give you 2 fourth installments of a franchise that I think are both really fun and both extremely and criminally underrated. I absolutely love both these movies. We got Wrong Turn 4, Bloody Beginnings. It's kind of like a prequel to the Wrong Turn series, but it's like set in the snow and at an abandoned hospital or something like that. Really fun 4th movie, and it was like a direct-to-video movie, but I actually really enjoy that. And for me, Saw 4 is one of the most underrated movies in the entire Saw franchise. This is one of my favorite films in the entire series. It has a really crazy twist ending that some people just can't get behind, but I love the twist in this movie. Wrong Turn 4 and Saw 4 are some of the most criminally underrated 4th installments of a horror series. Love both of these movies, but I especially love Saw 4. Saw is my favorite franchise of all time. Now, we got a Alien Invasion double feature that actually kind of have totally different vibes, came about 20 years apart from each other, but I think these actually kind of make sense to watch together. We got Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 78, and we got The Faculty from 98, I believe. Both have very different tones, kind of. They're both alien invasion flicks. This one has the 78 one has a very spooky feel that I love, creepy vibe. And then The Faculty has kind of a really fun late 90s vibe, kind of in the vein of Scream, but this is a really well done Scream movie that came after. So yeah, if you want a pair of alien invasion flicks that are both really good in their own ways, watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers 78 and watch The Faculty from 98. This makes sense to me. Watch this. Now let's go with a pair of kind of Invisible Man remakes, but I think they actually kind of they're both really well done, and they kind of go good together. The Hollow Man movie with Kevin Bacon from like 2000, that's a really well done, basically Invisible Man remake. But we also actually have the actual Invisible Man remake with Elizabeth Moss. They're both really, really well done Invisible Man movies. I love both of them. The one with Kevin Bacon is like so great. It kind of has a little bit of a slasher vibe, but they got a scientific vibe. This has I won't tell you the twist to be behind the Invisible Man, but they're both great Invisible Man movies, and they kind of make sense to watch back to back. So watch them back to back this October. All right, now we got a pair of, I have to throw these two horror documentaries in here. They are like two of the best horror documentaries ever made, and they're for two of my favorite franchises. Never Sleep Again. This is like a 4-hour documentary on A Nightmare on Elm Street. Such a well done documentary, but as good as this one is, we got Crystal Lake Memories. This is a 7-8 hour documentary on the entire Friday 13th series, and I believe the same company did both of these, but actually this makes for a perfect 11-hour double feature. If you love both of these franchises, these are both perfect documentaries that I think go perfect with both of these series. So check both these out if you haven't seen them in a long time. They are both extremely well done horror documentaries. So yeah, Never Sleep Again, The Elm Street Legacy, and Crystal Lake Memories, the complete history of Friday the 13th. Awesome. Alright, now I'm going to cheat a little and give you like a triple feature instead of a double feature. I'm going to call this the perfect 80s remake triple feature of The Fly. This is a remake of like a 50s movie with Jeff Goldblum. Great practical effects. Love this movie. The Thing, another perfect practical effects from the 80s. John Carpenter flick. One of John Carpenter's best movies ever made. Right up there with Halloween in my eyes. And this is almost becoming my favorite John Carpenter flick. I go back and forth, but yeah. And then a really fun, kind of less serious than these two, but a really fun 80s remake is The Blob. Love this movie. This has my girl Shawnee Smith from Saw. But yeah, really fun horror remake that actually has great practical effects. So all three of these movies are perfect horror remakes in my eyes. They all feature like the best of 80s practical effects. You can't go wrong with this. This makes for a perfect double feature. Love all three of these movies. Now let's go with a kind of another alien invasion movie where the creatures that kind of take over kind of look the same. So I think they actually kind of go well together. We got Night of the Creeps from the 80s and Slither from the early 2000s. Kind of different crazy movies too, but love both of these. If you've never seen these, I'm just not going to say much about these, but watch these together and I think you will think it makes perfect sense to watch these as a double feature. Night of the Creeps and Slither. Both crazy, well done, awesome movies in my eyes. Here is another triple feature that I think kind of makes sense. This is like the 3 Dark Castle remakes. We got House on Haunted Hill, a late 90s remake of a Vincent Price classic in my eyes. Really well done movie, really good creepy vibes. I think this is kind of underrated. This is a really good movie with a really good cast. Then we got cheesy. Does it really hold up that well? Not really, but it's such cheesy fun. 13 Ghosts. I think this is like set in a glass house, and all the 13 ghosts are really cool in this. Like I said, it kind of is a little cheesy now. This came out in 2001ish, but we got our guy Matthew Lillard from the first Scream. Just a fun movie. Fun movie. And then we got, I think, fast becoming one of my favorite horror remakes. Fast becoming one of kind of an underrated movie in my eyes. That is House of Wax from 2005. This is a remake of another Vincent Price classic, Mystery of the Wax Museum. I think that's what his movie's called. But this has some awesome vibes in it. I love some of the effects. People getting like put in wax and like gonna die while they're in wax. It's kind of just crazy. But yeah, I think this movie holds up pretty good. I think it's almost better than the first time I ever watched it. So yeah, over the years I've gained a lot of appreciation for the House of Wax remake. But these are three Dark Castle Entertainment remakes that are actually really fun. House of Wax, House on Haunted Hill, and 13 Ghosts. If you haven't seen these in a long time or you never seen these, give these a rewatch. These are probably a lot more fun than you remember. Alright, really fun triple feature right there. Now I kind of picked a random Stephen King double feature. I think these are like two of his best movies in the Stephen King adaptions. Love both of these movies. I think these are both bona fide horror classics in my eyes. We got Pet Sematary and Misery. I absolutely love both of these. Grew up with Pet Sematary and I love it as much today as I did as a kid. I think this has such amazing creepy vibes in this movie. The theme of death and everything. Just a perfect Stephen King adaptation, and Misery as well is a perfect Stephen King adaptation. Kathy Bates is so amazing in this. She gives such an awesome performance about she's obsessed with an author. He gets in a car accident and she kind of takes him in, and she is crazy in this movie. Love both of these, and I think watch these together because these are two of Stephen King's best movies ever made in my eyes, and two horror classics that never get old. I've seen these both multiple times. Now, I don't own the next two movies, but I love these two movies. Why do I not own them? I need to buy them someday. But I do think of these as two like really well done Alien 78 knockoff movies, but they're both fun and really well done. That is Life. That one is actually set in space like Alien. That one's like on a spaceship or whatever. Really well done movie, very underrated. And Underwater, another kind of Alien knockoff with Kristen Stewart from Twilight, but it's really well done. It's like all set underwater. Really well done knockoffs. I think they're knockoffs to Alien from 78, the classic. But they're both really well done, and they were both kind of big surprises for me when they came out, and I watched them for the first time. So yeah, Life and Underwater. Perfect double feature right there. Now I picked another pair of foreign flicks to watch double feature wise in October. That makes perfect sense to me. We got Audition. I think it's a Japanese film. I haven't seen this in a while, and then we got Martyrs, becoming both very violent flicks and sane flicks. So many twists and turns in this movie, but they're kind of like beautifully well-made films, even though there's lots of violence and everything in both of these. But these are both amazing movies. And especially Martyrs, I absolutely have grown to love this movie. This is a bona fide modern classic in my eyes. But yeah, check these things out. And I can't stress this enough. Both amazing movies. Now I put these together because they're just both super cheesy 80s flicks that I think they're both really underrated, and they're both just extremely fun. They really don't have a common theme together besides just cheesy fun, but I think you should watch these together. Killer Party from the early 80s, it's like a slasher movie, and we got Girlfriend from Hell, totally whacked out movie, but both of these movies are so fun. And these are two movies I hear basically nobody ever talk about, but I absolutely had a blast watching both of these for the first time. So if you just want an extremely goofy fun time, here you go. You're welcome. Killer Party and Girlfriend from Hell. Yes. Now I'm cheating a little bit. Here's a triple feature, but I'm going to call this this is a third movie of a franchise that I think are very underrated. Here are three third movies of franchises that I think are really, really good in their own ways. Scream 3, I think, is one of the most underrated Scream movies in the entire series. I love Scream 3. I have a lot of nostalgia. This goes a little more goofier than the first two, but I still love it, and I think it was has a near perfect ending that actually could have concluded the series. So I love Scream 3. The Exorcist 3, this is basically a classic in my eyes. It goes really good with the first Exorcist. You could skip Exorcist 2. This is a true sequel to Exorcist for me. Brad Dourif, it's like just so well done. Kind of following a serial killer in this. George C. Scott is really good in this. Just watch this, go in blind, rewatch this. You will probably think, heck yeah, that's the true sequel to The Exorcist. And I think a lot of people are mixed on this. Some people love this one in the series, some people don't. But I love Saw 3. Like I said, that's my favorite franchise ever. But I think this is a very good this is a perfect trilogy capper. Could have been the last movie in the series, like Scream 3, I think. It works very well. As you could stop at this point if you think the first three are a perfect trilogy. But yeah, I think this is criminally underrated. Jigsaw and Amanda is the heart and soul of this movie. I feel like this movie has a little bit of heart and soul with Jigsaw and Amanda's relationship. Kind of at the same time where this is where the movie really gets grisly and the traps get a little insane. But I absolutely love Saw 3. Definitely one of my favorites in the series. Now this is like a perfect double feature too. You got people getting kind of stranded dealing with a threat. The Shallows, I think, is really such a really good kind of shark film that deserves a little more love than it gets. It's shot very well. Blake Lively does really good. She kind of gets trapped on like a rock in the ocean, far from the shore. So she kind of got to fight this shark. And then Fall is two girls. They kind of get stuck on a tower, up really high on a tower. So they got to figure out how to get out of that situation. But for me, this actually makes for a perfect double bill. And they're both kind of a little underrated movies too. So yeah. Very, very good set of movies here. That's The Shallows and Fall. Great watches. Now I picked what I think you gotta throw a couple Conjuring movies to watch in October. So I picked two of my favorite Conjuring films in the series, Annabelle Creation and The Conjuring 2. I think most people have seen most of the Conjuring films, but for me, this is the best of the Annabelle films. And actually, Conjuring 2 is my favorite of the entire Conjuring universe, and then of course the first Conjuring is very close, but I think both of these have some great scares. They're both extremely well done. So yeah, if you're gonna just watch two Conjuring movies this October, I say watch these two. Alright, now you gotta throw a couple clown movies in here, and I think both of these clown movies are both perfect movies. I absolutely love both of these. We got Stephen King's It Chapter 1. I like Part 1 a lot more than 2, but 2's alright. And then, of course, Terrifier 2, one of the best, most insane slashers of recent memory. This is my favorite horror movie from 2022. I say, yeah, get your double dose of scary clown in, and here, these two movies are the way to go. I love Pennywise, and I love Art the Clown. And Art the Clown is fast becoming one of my favorite horror villains of all time. A lot of gore in this, but really, really well done. And then I think it's really fun. I love all the kids in this, but yeah. get your double dose of clowns right here. Perfect. Now I'm going to give you another, this is a random triple feature, but these are 3 of my favorite horror movies of this year so far. We got Talk to Me, an A24 flick. It's like these people have this hand, you grab the hand, you could see spirits and everything. That's all I say about Talk to Me. For me, this is one of the best movies of the year. I actually really ended up really liking the main girl in Talk to Me. But yeah, and I loved the ending to that movie. So yeah, one of the best of the year. Another big surprise for me this year so far is Cobweb. Really fun movie. It's set on Halloween. It starts one way and then it kind of ends really cool and bonkers by the end of it. So watch Cobweb. It's actually a big surprise for me this year. And then one of the biggest surprises of the year also for me was No One Can Save You. This is an alien invasion flick. Kind of an alien home invasion film that works so well. There's so much more to this movie than I ever thought there would have been. I mean, it fast became one of my favorites of the year when I watched it. It's a Hulu original. So if you have Hulu, definitely watch No One Can Save You. But these 3 films were 3 of the biggest surprises so far this year. Loved all 3 of these. I can't recommend these enough. These will easily be some of my favorite horror films of 2023. So yeah, watch these 3 movies right now. Alright, we got a couple more recommendations. I got 2 Halloween franchise movies that I think are the 2 of the most perfect, or the fall feel Halloween vibe, the autumn vibe. I think these are the 2 best ones for that vibe. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Just the feeling of fall, the feeling of the colder weather coming in set on Halloween. I think these did the best out of the entire franchise, and I have such nostalgia for both of these movies. Grew up with both of them, still love them today, but yeah. And ironically, George P. Wilbur is Michael in both of these movies, but yeah. Anytime I want to get in that fall vibe and I want my Michael Myers fix, Halloween 4 and 6, I grab first off the shelf. Alright guys, this is my last recommendation of the day of double features / triple features it became to watch in October. Now these are 3 horror films that are all set in high-rise apartment buildings, but I actually really enjoy all 3 of these. These are all a little bit flawed. I don't think none of these movies are perfect, but for what they do, and they're all set in high-rise apartment buildings, that makes for a really fun double feature, or triple feature. Demons 2 set at a high-rise apartment building. Really fun demon flick. Decent sequel to the original. I like the original better, but really good high-rise demon flick. Then we got it's actually my second favorite Poltergeist film. Poltergeist 3 is set in a high-rise apartment, but there's some awesome mirror effects in this. This was Heather O'Rourke's last movie. So sad. I love that little actress, and she died so young. But yeah, Poltergeist 3 I think is underrated. I say check that out again, and it's set in a high-rise apartment. And then the most recent one set in a high-rise is Evil Dead Rise. Really enjoy Evil Dead Rise. It's not one of my favorite movies ever. I like the 2013 Evil Dead is my favorite Evil Dead, but this one's really fun. It's kind of really got the tone. They have a little bit of the funny factor, but it's a lot of the same tone as the 2013 remake. But really fun. It's set in a high rise, so yeah. So there you go. 3 high rise apartment building horror movies that would make for a fun triple feature. So yeah. Alright guys, that was a lot of horror recommendations, but that was 31 horror double features you should watch this October. It's really fun I like to watch double features with like the same theme or the same vibes. And a lot of these I think work well together for that reason. Hit that like and subscribe button if you love all things horror. This channel is fully dedicated to horror films. But yeah, it's October now, so you might get some fun videos. I'll probably do I'll be doing my DVD and Blu-ray collections of some of my favorite franchises. Probably my Nightmare on Elm Street DVD Blu-ray collection, Saw, Halloween 4K collection, Blu-ray collection. I might even show off my Phantasm box set. And yeah, just look out for some videos. So subscribe if you love all things horror. I will be seeing you guys really soon. Yes, it's October. See you guys next time. Bye, guys.